Hello, welcome to Working with Miniatures. I'm Jim, and tonight we're going to be painting the Fallschirmjäger Observer Squad from the Axis faction from the Dust 1947 game. We'll primarily be using Army Painter speed paints, washes, and war paints. Let's get started. This miniature has been primed with an airbrush using Vallejo's matte black primer, followed by zenithal sprays of gray and white. I've been working on numerous projects that have been taking up a lot of my time and which will be added to this channel shortly. But I still want to try and paint at least one miniature a week on average. Originally I wanted to add camo patterns to the clothes of these soldiers, but in the interest of time, I decided to keep it simple. I have many more dust miniatures to paint, and I can add camo to them or come back to these miniatures later. The general workflow I'm following for this pair will be a base coat with speed paints followed by shading with additional speed paints before sealing them with Testor's dull coat, oil washing, removing some of the oil wash, and then finally adding highlights and finishing the eyes and base. The faces were fairly dark, to the point that I probably should have used pure Crusader skin or maybe Sand Golem here instead. Either way, I made a few mistakes on the flesh coloring along the way, and I'll show them all as it gave me an idea for a future project. Here is where I stopped using speed paints, and you can see wait, what the hell? Why is this guy's bullets fed backwards? Here I stopped to spray the miniatures with Testor's dull coat, let them dry, and then dilute oil paints with mineral spirits and mixing with a cheap synthetic brush on a cheap palette. A sculpting knife is useful for pulling small amounts of oil paint, and a dropper bottle without the plunger is also helpful for pulling mineral spirits. I try to keep the oil paints a little above the mineral spirits on the palette so I can just drag down a little at a time until I have a mix I'm happy with. I then oil wash everything. The light yellowish brown oil wash for the face was a mistake, but we'll come back to that later. After about 15 minutes, I dip makeup sponges in mineral spirits and remove most of the oil paint, lightly buffing it away. Up until this point, each of the steps have been pretty quick and easy. Adding these highlights from the point out is where the vast majority of my time is spent. I try to focus a lot on keeping highlights thin, which greatly impacted my working time. However, I feel like it made a big difference in the end. The faces look pretty rough, mainly due to the wash. I probably should have used a darker brown. However, had this been something where the inside should be brighter than the outside, such as a fire elemental with crusted over flesh, then this might look great, albeit with different colors. I used strong tone wash to tone down the yellowness and then build up several highlights, glazing it all together and then adding even more highlights. This is the final result, and is it just me or does the soldier on the right look like Peter Weller? Despite the fiasco with the flesh, I'm pretty happy with the results. Most of the highlights are better defined and thinner than most of the other miniatures I painted. I do regret now not taking the time to add camo patterns to the clothing, but this is something I can do on future miniatures or return to these two at a later date. For lessons learned, I need to pay a little more attention to the colors I use for washes. Also, I realized while filming these last pictures that I missed the belts on the back of the pants, having mistaken them for folds in the cloth. That's going to wrap it up for today. I hope you learned something or were inspired to try out the Dust 1947 game. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And if you like the content of this video and would like to see more, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm Jim with Working with Miniatures. I'm truly grateful for your time, and I bid you a final farewell. Till the next video.